what is EFT? In South Africa, EFT is an electronic funds transfer. It is when money gets sent or appears in your account. The EFT I want to talk about today is emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. And although that is not money going into your bank account, it is something similar to money going into your emotional bank account. And actually, it can be used for abundance as well. So let's get into what is tapping and how you can use this to really help you clear your belief systems and your emotions, and even things like PTSD, hectic traumas in the body, anxiety, depression. It also reduces your stress levels. EFT is an incredible technique, but it might look a little bit nuts. I often do it in the car, and this does look a bit odd in the car, right? When you see somebody tapping away on all the different EFT points. But those EFT points are incredibly important because they are based on Chinese medicine, the acupuncture points or the meridian points in the body. So they work like acupressure or acupuncture, except that you are just tapping gently on each of these points, as I've shown you. So let me tell you what the points are. When we start an EFT session, we always start with something called a setup statement. And when we're doing that, we're using the karate chop point. And it's called the karate chop because obviously it looks like a karate chop, but it's really just these soft pads along the hands here. And that is related to the small intestine, which affects the emotion of sadness. So that will help you relieve sadness. You don't really have to know each of these points and which organs they relate to or which meridians they relate to in the body for EFT to work. In fact, I'm over delivering and giving you this information. You really don't have to get caught up in it. Doing an EFT session is going to help you with all of the emotions that you feel. But I'm just going to take you through them for interest's sake so that you know what each of them are. Then you get to the top of the head, which is the governing vessel, and that's related to embarrassment and any congestion you might have in the body. And as you move into the inner eyebrow, you're working on the bladder meridian, which is related to trauma, frustration, and restlessness. When you get to the side here, the outer eye or temples, we are now working on the stomach meridian, which relates to anxiety, fear, and cravings in the body. And then you work under the nose. You move to under the nose, between the nose and the lip. And that is, again, the governing vessel, that embarrassment and congestion in the body again. And then under the lip or on the chin is the central vessel, which is related to shame. And then you have the collarbone, which is related to the kidney meridian. And that is related again to criticism, disappointment, and failure. And then under it's kind of in these little points here under the arms, the spleen. And those are related to unhappiness, anger, anxiety, self-esteem, and uncertainty. So as you can see, when you're doing an EFT session, you're not just tapping for the fun of it. You're actually tapping to release emotions that are stored in the organs and stored in the body. And that is why it's so effective. And as I say, it has actually been clinically proven to release those emotions. So another thing that happens when you start doing EFT is it improves the stress response. So what happens is we have the amygdala in the back of the brain and the hypothalamus in the back of the brain. And those are related to the fears and the saboteurs and all of our fight and flight, the limbic system, our survival mechanisms. And what happens is you actually start to change and rewire the brain and the neural pathways in the brain away from those survival mechanisms, away from the stress response, and into the areas that are more positive in the brain. So it does something very similar to positive intelligence, something else that I coach on. And that is why I love how all of these techniques and modalities all come together to help us holistically work through our thoughts and our emotions, our beliefs, our fears, our saboteurs. And as we start to work on these things, we can start to clear all of our thoughts and emotions and free ourselves from any negative emotions that might be holding us back. So I hope you're going to come and join me for an EFT session. That is the next thing that I have on offer in Hey Shoo WOW Adventures, my paid community on school. And there are just 2 spots left in that paid community at $8. And then the price is going up to $17 a month in that program. I am delivering a lot of value in that program, as anyone who is in the program can attest. And so I would really love to see you there. So if you have seen this video on YouTube and not in Hey Shoo WOW Awakening, my free group on school, please give it a little like and subscribe to my channel. I would love to be growing this channel at the same time as I'm building my school communities. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you for an EFT session. Bye for now.